I got the call from my chief resident that there was a big burn coming in, and we mobilized the troops. He was grievously injured, and at one point he was the sickest guy in the hospital.
The initial goal is to stabilize him, and that's done in the first few hours in the emergency room, and then once he gets up here, as soon as he gets here, we start his fluid resuscitation, which he requires because with these kinds of injuries you lose a lot of fluid.
And if things look stable, at that point I'll go touch base with the family and kind of give them the initial things are grave. The prognosis just depends on how he does in the first 24 hours.
I remember asking if he was going to make it, and they said they just really didn't know.
We have incredible nursing staff that watch him every hour for that first 24 hours.
Our big focus as the burn team was obviously his burn wounds, so we made sure that those were addressed while working with the trauma team to make sure that all of his critical care needs were addressed.
He fell out of the sky and crushed his pelvis and his face, in addition to this 40–50% burn.
Just seeing him laying there, very swollen. It didn't even look like Tony at the time.
Because his burns were so extensive, I couldn't just take him to the operating room and cut all the burn tissue off all at once. So there's this interplay between getting off the bad tissue to reduce risk of infection and keeping his what you can for better cosmesis and even better movement later.
When he first came to us, he went to the operating room at least once, if not twice a week, for the majority of his initial time.
Of course, in the early days, those were life-saving surgeries. And of course, there's a lot of waiting and a lot of wondering what's going on until they come back.
And every time he came back from the operating room, but with the fluid loss from surgery and undergoing anesthesia, he came back sicker. So it was 2 steps forward, 1 step back every time.
Your skin is everything. Keeps your fluids in, keeps the bacteria out, cosmetic, obviously, it's very important. All the burns that were 3rd and 4th degree on his legs, his arms, were released. His face was very deep, but those don't require early treatment. He suffered necrosis of several fingers on his right hand, so we had to amputate 2 fingers.
Which are tough to explain to a family that, this digit is dead. We need to get rid of it. There's no saving it.
The staff actually feel like family to us now, but we had never experienced the burns before, and the first thing I remember was having to gown up, going into the room, and they said, "You're doing the right thing," because I just started talking to him. Even though he couldn't respond, I was hoping he could hear me.
I remember trying to find a piece of skin, something of Tony to touch.
Yeah.
And, I found something right over his heart, of course, and, just kept my hand there.
They were great throughout the whole process, and they did a lot to support him. They've trusted us and what we said to them and what we explained to them, and they were very involved.
There was one time when the nurse said that he was starting to kind of wake up, and I went back, and I remember him taking, his hands were so wrapped, and I remember having my hand gloved, and he knew who I was, and he tried kissing my hand. That's when I knew that he was gonna be okay.